Level 1. The bathroom clippers, $5. You are 22 years old. You work the overnight shift as a warehouse restocker for a regional hardware supplier on the cold industrial edge of the city. Your salary is $21,500 a year. That number is not a living wage. It is a mathematical straitjacket designed to ensure you never have enough momentum to leave. Your rent for a mattress on the floor of a house shared with 3 strangers is $650, and the hum of the ancient failing refrigerator in the communal kitchen vibrates through your thin walls all night. You do not go to a barber. A basic haircut in your city costs $25, and $25 is the electric bill, or the exact price of bulk rice and beans to get you through the final 9 days of the month. Instead, you use a set of cheap plastic body clippers you bought on clearance 3 years ago. You stand over the cracked porcelain sink in the shared bathroom at 2 a.m. under a flickering, humming fluorescent bulb, dragging the dull blades across your own scalp. The motor whines and rattles in your hand. The dull metal catches and pulls the hair directly from the root, making your eyes water. It leaves small red welts on the back of your neck. You cannot see the back of your head properly, even holding a cracked hand mirror behind you, so you guess. The fade is jagged. The lines behind your ears are uneven, leaving strange patches of shadow and skin. You are always doing the math. Survival math. It is a Thursday morning, 7:15 a.m. You just got off a 10-hour shift. You are standing in the harsh, glaring light of a crowded laundromat, holding a plastic basket of clothes that smell of cardboard dust and cheap detergent. You hold your phone under the glare of the lights, trying to transfer $8 from your empty savings to your checking account just to wash your uniform. A woman waiting for a dryer looks over at you. Her eyes start at your scuffed boots and travel up, landing squarely on the uneven, chopped hairline at the nape of your neck, the red razor burn, the blunt, unkempt edges of your fringe. You watch her face settle into a very specific, cold expression. It isn't pity. It is a biological reflex of distrust. To her, the jagged haircut is a definitive barcode. It tells her you are someone who lacks the baseline discipline or resources to care for yourself. It tells her you are chaotic, someone who slows things down, someone who does not belong in the safe, predictable lanes of society. She subtly pulls her purse closer to her hip and takes a half step back. You are not treated as a tired kid washing his clothes. You are treated as a threat. The world prices you in friction. You finally get the app to load, pay the machine, and walk out into the gray morning rain. The world doesn't actively hate the man with the chopped, desperate haircut. It simply recoils from him before its mind even catches up, assuming he is a problem it does not want to solve. Level 2. The strip mall standard. You are 26 years old. You make $46,000 a year as a quality assurance auditor for a mid-sized logistics firm. You have a desk in a beige cubicle, a direct deposit that hits reliably on the 15th and 30th of every month, and an apartment where the refrigerator doesn't rattle the walls. You are completely exhausted by the friction of being broke. You are tired of the micro expressions of fear or disgust when people look at the back of your neck. You are tired of being read as a struggle. So you start going to the brightly lit chain salon in the strip mall next to the grocery store. It costs $25 plus a $5 tip. You walk in on a Tuesday evening. You sit in a squeaky vinyl chair that smells faintly of barbicide, burnt hair, and synthetic green apple shampoo. The stylist wears an apron covered in clippings. She talks loudly to her coworker over the high-pitched whine of the blow dryer and finishes your head in 12 minutes. The cut is standard, a basic, unoffensive side part with a uniform machine fade. It doesn't have the precision of a master barber. The blend isn't perfect, but the lines are straight. It doesn't have any bald patches. The first time you go out to a casual networking mixer with your new coworkers, you stand at the high-top table and realize nobody's looking at you twice. You don't pull your collar up anymore to hide your neck. The haircut operates as a passport. It buys you permission to exist in the normal world without suspicion. You have finally stopped being a problem to be solved and have become part of the background furniture. But the middle class is a beautifully designed, inescapable snare. You traded the loud, crashing panic of looking like a threat for the quiet, grinding drip of monthly maintenance. That $30 joins the rent, the car payment, the streaming subscriptions, and the dental debt, quietly bleeding your account dry while you sleep. At 8:15 p.m. on a Sunday, exactly 3 weeks later, you look in the bathroom mirror and realize your hair has grown out just enough to look slightly shaggy over the years. Because you have the cubicle job, because you are expected to look professional for the client walkthrough on Thursday, you have to go back to the salon. You cannot stretch it to 5 weeks without looking like the guy who's losing his grip. You realize that you are spending money you barely have to perform a baseline of success, to look like a man who isn't falling behind. Middle class isn't a level of comfort, it's a subscription service, and your haircut is the monthly fee you pay just to blend into the scenery. Level 3. The Artisanal Facade. You are 31 years old. Your salary has jumped to $88,000. You are a director of vendor relations. You wear shirts that require professional dry cleaning. You sit in meetings where the water is poured from heavy glass carafes instead of plastic bottles. You are doing exactly what the system told you to do. And yet, you are standing in the exact same spot, just paying double to stand there. You do not go to the chain salon anymore. The fluorescent lights and the 12-minute rushing feel beneath you now. You go to a bespoke barbershop downtown with exposed brick walls, vintage leather chairs from the 1920s, and complimentary heavy-bottomed glasses of bourbon handed to you the moment you walk through the door. You pay $70 for the cut, plus a $20 tip, plus $30 for a matte texturizing clay sold in a tiny minimalist glass jar. The barber takes 45 minutes. He doesn't rush. He uses a straight razor lined with hot lather to perfectly sculpt the edges of your beard and the back of your neck. The fade is a seamless, mathematically perfect gradient. The hot towel placed over your face feels like the ultimate arrival. When you sit at a mahogany bar in an upscale steakhouse later that week and turn your head to order a drink, your silhouette broadcasts a precise frequency. It says, "I am solvent. I am relevant. I am winning." The bartender registers the immaculate grooming, subconsciously calculates the cost of the upkeep, and brings your bourbon without asking you if you want to open a tab. The world treats you with a hollow, practiced respect. You are read as a premium consumer, a mark whose business is worth retaining. But underneath the fragrant sandalwood pomade, the reality is entirely claustrophobic. The haircut is a monument to your specific, quiet anxieties. You are trapped in group chats with old college friends who casually discuss leasing $65,000 SUVs and taking trips to Tulum that you know perfectly well they cannot afford. You lie awake at 2 a.m. doing the "what will they think" math in the dark. If you wait 5 weeks between cuts instead of 3, you look sloppy. And in your specific corporate ecosystem, looking sloppy is read as a subtle failure, a quiet confession that your upward trajectory has stalled. The men above you in the C-suite never have hair over their ears. Every single mirror you walk past is a microtransaction of your sanity. The world no longer ignores you. It demands your constant, flawless participation. At this level, you are wealthy enough to afford the premium mask, but far too poor to ever take it off. Success has stopped being what you own and has become what you are terrified to lose. Level 4. The Executive Sculpt. $300. You are 38 years old. You cross $210,000 a year. You are the vice president of strategic forecasting for a multinational firm. The air around you has fundamentally shifted. You no longer sit in a waiting area with other men drinking complimentary bourbon. You book your appointments months in advance at an unmarked, high-rise studio where you are the only client in the room. There is no waiting. There is no overlapping chatter. You pay $300 a session. The cut is no longer about looking trendy, edgy, or trying to emulate a fade you saw on social media. It is about looking timeless, effortless, and entirely untouchable. The stylist does not use clippers. They use imported Japanese shears. They study the exact shape of your skull, the way your hair naturally falls, engineering a look that requires almost zero product but stays perfectly in place whether you are stepping off a red-eye flight from London or walking into a volatile boardroom. This is the ultimate physical manifestation of your status. The world no longer treats you as a consumer to be squeezed for monthly appointments and $30 jars of clay. It treats you as an asset that must be protected, managed, and deferred to. The daily friction that defined your 20s has completely vanished. You arrive at the airport and your tier automatically upgrades you to the front of the plane. When you walk into a negotiation, the precision of your appearance does the talking before you even open your mouth. It signals that you have absolute control over your environment, right down to the millimeter of hair on your head. The flawless, quiet grooming opens heavy, locked doors before your hand even reaches for the handle. But the effortless look creates a new, distinct kind of isolation. You sit at a high-end sushi restaurant waiting for a client, staring at your reflection in the darkened window glass. The friends you had when you were 22, the ones from the shared house, the ones who spotted you for laundry money when your clippers died, have stopped texting you. They assume you are too busy. They see your photos online, the immaculate, expensive aura you project, and they assume you live in a different atmosphere. And they are absolutely right. The distance didn't happen overnight. It happened every time you paid $300 to look like a man who never struggles, distancing yourself inch by inch from the men who still do. To pull ahead is only another way of saying you pulled away. You traded the loud, crashing panic of $0 for the quiet, crushing realization that you have polished yourself into a completely different species. You are the warden of your own invisible prison. Level 5. The Private Concierge. $1,000. You are 45 years old. You pull in over $950,000 in base salary, but that number is irrelevant compared to the performance equity you hold as a global managing partner. You no longer go to a salon. You do not travel for maintenance. You pay a private grooming concierge $1,000 to come to your penthouse or your corner office. The groomer arrives through a private elevator. They carry their tools in a handmade leather case. They do not make small talk unless you initiate it. They are a ghost, a master craftsman whose only job on earth is to ensure that your physical perimeter is absolute perfection before you address your board of directors or step in front of a camera. At this level, the world doesn't treat you like an asset. It treats you like a sovereign state. When you walk into a room, the immaculate nature of your appearance is almost an afterthought, because your true interface with the world is the team of people standing between you and the public. You have engineered a life where the chaotic, grinding noise of the lower levels simply cannot reach you. You are no longer priced in friction. You are the one consulting on the price of everyone else's friction. Inconvenience is not a barrier anymore. It is a vendor you contract out to keep others away. You sit in the back of a black executive SUV, sliding silently through city traffic behind heavy acoustic glass. You look out the tinted window. It is raining. You see a 22-year-old standing at a bus stop, staring down in frustration at a glowing phone screen. You notice the back of his neck. The hair is jagged, buzzed unevenly, raw with bright red razor burn. You remember being him. You remember the exact smell of the wet asphalt, the sting of the cheap plastic clippers pulling at your scalp, and the sheer panic of doing the math at a laundromat while a stranger looked at you like a threat. But now, staring through the acoustic glass, you cannot feel what he feels. The gap between your reality and his is no longer measured in dollars. It is measured in the impenetrable thickness of the bulletproof glass separating you. Your phone vibrates once. It is a secure message from your wealth manager, informing you that a private commercial real estate syndication deal just closed, adding $200,000 in passive dividend yield to your net worth while you were sitting in traffic getting your neck dusted by a $1,000 brush. You read the message. You touch the flawless, impossibly smooth line at your temple. You look back out the window at the rain. You feel absolutely nothing. That is the true tragedy of the highest level. You spent your entire life climbing away from the sharp, bleeding panic of the bottom, trimming away every raw edge, only to arrive in a room where the air is perfectly still, the silence is absolute, and you are completely alone. Level 6. The Retained Asset. You are 52 years old. You are the chief executive officer of a multinational conglomerate, and your net worth has quietly crossed the $14 million mark. You no longer pay for a haircut per session. You pay a $15,000 annual retainer to an image consultancy firm that manages the exact perimeter of your silhouette. The stylist does not use clippers. They use shears that make no clicking sound, only a soft, whisper-quiet slice. The cut at this altitude is no longer about looking sharp. It is about the algorithmic management of your aging. The silver creeping into your temples is not dyed black. That would look desperate, a sign of vanity. Instead, the stylist mathematically blends the gray, trimming it at specific angles so that the silver catches the boardroom lighting to project authority, wisdom, and absolute solvent stability. You sit in an immaculate, unbranded suite on the 40th floor. There is no small talk, there is no overlapping chatter from other chairs. You drink a sparkling water poured from a glass bottle. Your hair is engineered to look the exact same on a Tuesday in London as it does on a Thursday in Tokyo. You have paid to remove the friction of inconsistency from your life. But as you look in the pristine mirror, you notice the sterile nature of a frictionless existence. The gap between you and your old friends is no longer about arguments. It's about an algorithmic silence. You cannot complain about a bad haircut, just like you can't complain about the cost of groceries, because you have outsourced those human inconveniences. You traded the chaotic noise of the bottom for a curated, flawless perimeter, and you're starting to notice that the perfection feels suspiciously like a vacuum. Level 7. The Stealth Silhouette. You are 58 years old. You left the corporate structure to become the founder of a boutique private equity firm. You deal in acquisitions that dismantle entire companies, shifting the lives of thousands of employees with a single signature. The grooming strategy has shifted entirely. You have reached the level of stealth wealth. You have learned the hardest lesson of power. Visibility is death. You do not want to look expensive. You want to look inevitable. The haircut is completely unmemorable by design. It is neither too short nor too long. It features no sharp fades, no hard parts, no product that catches the light. You pay $800 a week to a traveling specialist whose only job is to ensure that your hair looks like you haven't thought about it in a decade. You are paying a premium to ensure you are legally, digitally, and physically a phantom. You sit in the back of a luxury sedan, idling in traffic, looking out the tinted acoustic glass at the people walking on the sidewalk. They have tight, sharp haircuts, desperately trying to catch the eye of the world, consumed by the frantic math of standing out. You feel the profound distance now. The people who knew you when you were 22, when you hid your raw red razor burn under a cheap collar, cannot reach your life anymore, and you cannot reach theirs. The unmemorable, perfectly tailored ghost silhouette you wear is a monument to that separation. You have bought your way out of the human experience, trimming away every defining feature until there is nothing left for the world to grab onto. Level 8. The Delegated Biology. You are 65 years old. You are the chairman of the board. You sit at the head of the table now, but you no longer drive the daily machinery of the company. The most profound shift has occurred. You are paying to defeat biology itself. Nature dictates that your hair should be thinning, retreating, surrendering to the pull of time and gravity. You refuse to surrender, but you do not wear a toupee and you do not use cheap sprays. You quietly disappear to a hidden, unmarked clinic in Geneva for 3 weeks. You spend $65,000 on a microscopic follicular unit extraction procedure. The doctors plant thousands of individual grafts into your scalp while you sleep under twilight anesthesia. When you return to the boardroom, your hair is thick, silver, and undeniably permanent. To the people watching, this defying of nature is the ultimate flex of dominance. It signals that you are so essential to the machinery of the world, so insulated by your capital, that even time must ask your permission before it takes anything from you. The world waits for your pace. But late at night, in the echoing halls of your massive estate, the flawless hairline feels like a strange lie. You are surrounded by assistants and wealth managers whose entire job is to make you feel immortal, and you know it. You touch the thick silver hair in the dark and miss the simple, undeniable reality of a physical struggle. You have delegated away your connection to the natural decline of humanity, and in doing so, you have delegated away your ability to feel the rough, unpredictable texture of the world. Level 9. The Absolute Silence. You are 72 years old. You are the principal of your own family office, managing a multi-generational trust designed to outlive you by 2 centuries. You are no longer just a person. You are a continuation. You do not leave your estate for grooming. A wellness team lives on the property. Your hair is kept to a uniform snowy white length. It is perfectly still. It never blows out of place because you are rarely outside in the wind. You sit in a leather armchair in your private study, staring at a mahogany desk. The silence in this room is absolute, purchased with 50 years of ruthless climbing and sacrifice. You have everything money can buy, and an enormous emptiness where the fight used to live. You close your eyes and suddenly remember the 22-year-old version of you. You remember the exact smell of the cardboard dust on your uniform, the hum of the failing refrigerator in that shared apartment, and the sharp, stinging pain of the dull plastic clippers pulling hair directly from the root. You remember standing under the harsh fluorescent lights of the laundromat at 7:15 a.m., trying to transfer $8 just to wash your clothes. You remember the woman who looked at the jagged, bleeding razor burn on the back of your neck and physically recoiled from you. You realize with a sickening clarity that the boy with the jagged haircut was more alive than the man sitting in this mahogany chair. He was terrified, yes. He was bleeding from cheap plastic blades, yes. But he was fighting to exist. You have nothing left to fight. The silence of your perfect white hair is no longer a luxury. It is a museum where you are the only exhibit. You built a soundproof moat to keep the friction of the world out, and it worked perfectly. No one can touch you. You are practically a god, and it is the most terrifyingly hollow feeling you have ever known. Level 10. The Empty Hand. You are 78 years old. You are the retired patriarch. You have officially stepped down, handing control of the empire to a successor you trained. You sit in a curated garden in a country you have called home for 20 years. You watch the light change as the afternoon turns toward evening. The haircut no longer matters. The silhouette no longer matters. The silence after a career is louder than any stadium. There are no board meetings. There are no algorithmic image consultants. There is only the wind moving through the trees, stirring the thin, white hair you no longer bother to perfectly style, and the slow, heavy beating of your own aging heart. You look down at your bare hands. They are impeccably clean. The red welts and scars from your 20s faded decades ago, leaving the skin smooth, soft, and completely untested. You spent your entire life escaping the brutal, grinding friction of the bottom, spending every ounce of your energy to buy your way out of the struggle, smoothing out every rough edge of your appearance. But sitting here in the perfect, curated quiet, you finally understand the ultimate tragedy of the climb. The friction was the only thing connecting you to the earth. Somewhere right now, a 22-year-old is standing in a shared bathroom at 2 a.m. The fluorescent bulb is flickering. He's dragging dull plastic clippers across the back of his own neck because he cannot afford a $25 barber. He's bleeding. He hates the clippers in his hand. He hates the fear it brings. He has no idea that the struggle is the most human he will ever be. He does not know what the long climb will cost him or who he will become to reach the empty chair you now occupy. He will figure it out. They always do. The cycle continues.